Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is applesauce spice cake. Now this particular cake is using butter and solid shortening. So if you don't like a recipe that uses shortening, this might not be the cake for you. Yet I do have a delicious video on a applesauce cake. I think it's had a little over 3,000 views already, so it's people have been very receptive to it. And the applesauce cake is made solely with butter. So again, if you're looking for an applesauce cake only with butter, please check out my other video that I have. But let's get started on this one. First, we're going to start off with our solid shortening, and we're going to put a 1/4 cup of that into my mixing bowl. Now, you can certainly make this cake with your hand mixer if you prefer, but I always say I do mine here in the stand-up because it's so much quicker for the video. And then you're going to also put a 1/4 cup of butter. I've cut it into small pieces, and you'll want to just cream these two together. Okay, plug this in. I unplugged it. Forgot to put it back in the plug. And I'm just going to cream that together. Now, there will not be the ingredients list to make the recipe below the video. I'm very sorry, but I no longer do that. I do mention it in all my videos due to so many people taking my videos, posting them on other sites, claiming that it's their videos and their photos, and it's just not worth the time anymore. So I'm going to try to carefully explain the ingredients so that you can get them. Okay, so 1/4 cup of solid shortening, 1/4 cup of butter, and we cream them together. Okay, now once you do that, you're going to start putting in your your granulated sugar. Someone's in the kitchen with me and I got a little distracted. I'm sorry. 2 cups of granulated sugar to this mixture. I'm going to warn you about the sound because it gets a little loud with my mixer. Now what you'll want to do is just spend a bit of time on doing this, and it might take you 2 minutes, it might take you 3 minutes, depending on your speed that you're using. I'm just going to turn it on for a little bit, so I'm going to warn you about the sound. Okay, once you creamed your granulated sugar, and that was 2 cups, we're going to put 2 eggs that have also been, these have been at room temperature, and we're going to put 1 in at a time and beat them in. Now again, you will want to beat it for a minute or two because you want this to be very fluffy and very light, and a lemony light color of the color of lemon. I'm going to warn you about the sound. Okay, now once you cream that very nicely, and it will look very light, and you'll see that very pretty light color of yellow on it. Okay, we're going to be putting in our applesauce. Now, the applesauce is going to be 1 1/4 cups. I'm using unsweetened because I really feel with the 2 cups of sugar already, it's really sweet enough. You decide whether you want to use the regular with sugar, but I have always made this recipe with the unsweetened, and it just comes out perfect as far as not being too sugary, you know, too sweet. So I'm going to just put that in now, warn you about the sound. And of course, just beat that in until it's smooth, and it might take you a minute or so. Okay, the next thing is now to get all our dry ingredients together. Now you're going to be needing in a bowl 3 cups of all-purpose flour. In that flour, you're going to put 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon. You're going to put 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You're going to put 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm just repeating it so, you know, in case you are trying to write this down. It'll give you a few seconds to do so. 1 teaspoon of allspice. 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Now, if you don't like cloves, I would just suggest to substitute it for cinnamon or just leave it out if you don't like cloves. That was 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. It really does add to the flavor to make this such a nice spice cake, along with that apple that's baked in. Oh, it's just a delicious cake. Now, in the dry, the last thing that you're going to put in is 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then I'm just going to take my spoon and just stir it in a little bit. You don't have to be perfect with it. Okay. And you're going to need 1 cup of boiling water. I like to put mine in the microwave. You can use it, you know, heat it on your stove, of course. And you're going to, let me grab a bowl real quick here. Okay. All right. You're going to put 1 cup of boiling water, very hot water, into a bowl. Set that aside. And then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And then give it a stir so it'll all dissolve. And then you're going to alternate the dry with the baking soda boiling water. Okay? So I'm going to put it on low. Start putting in that dry, and then a little bit of the water. And just keep doing that and alternating it. Okay, that's the rest of your dry. And the rest of the water and soda went in. And then it's just a matter of beating this and mixing it well. You don't want to overbeat it, but it might take you again a couple minutes to do that. I'm going to raise my speed, warn you about the sound. Now, one of the reasons why I raise the speed, I usually don't beat it that high, but again, I just want to move it along for the video, okay? Let me pull it up one more time for just a couple more seconds. Okay, you're going to need 3 pans. These are 8-inch round. They're 2 inches tall, because a lot of people always ask me that, but you'll need 3. You do need to grease them and flour them, or dust them with, after you grease them, with breadcrumbs, or use your parchment paper. That's really up to you. I'm just going to take my paddle out here, get my excess off, set this aside, and then I do want to check the bottom of my mixing bowl and my sides to make sure it went all the way down. Now you'll have this beautiful batter, okay? And it's medium thick. It's not real thin, as you see. It's not extremely thick either, but you can smell all those nice spices and the applesauce together. When this cake bakes in the oven, it really just, well, it just, the whole kitchen smells so nice. Now, what you'll do is, of course, you'll want to evenly divide your batter into your pans and smooth it out. I'm not going to bore you with doing all that. If you're unsure about, you know, how much to put in, you can actually use a measuring cup. And that's how sometimes I do mine, so that they're just really exact. So each layer is exact. Now you're going to bake these 3 cakes together, and you're going to bake them at 350 degrees, and they're going to take you anywhere from 25 to generally about 30 minutes. So start checking them early, because you don't want to dry them out and over bake them. You want this cake to be very, very light and very delicate. And that's how it will bake up if you don't over bake them, because our oven's set up so differently. So let me wash my hands very quickly, and then I'd like to show you what the cake looks like. I also went ahead and put a brown sugar buttercream frosting on it to finish it. I wanted you to see what the finished cake would look like. I will be putting on the recipe for the frosting in a little bit. This is, as I mentioned, a brown sugar buttercream. You'll see how beautiful the cake bakes up, so nice and tall. It gives a great presentation for, you know, serving or at a party, for your guests and that type of thing. Now, let's cut into it to show you what this cake looks like. Let me go just a little bit deeper. There we go. Okay, I cut quite a narrow piece, but it will bake up just delicious. It is so moist. I don't know if you can see as I was pressing on it. In fact, let me grab a fork here just to show you the crumb on it, how light and how delicate this cake turns out. It's really just delicious. You can eat this cake by itself. You can drizzle a powdered sugar glaze if you want, or dust it with powdered sugar. You know, whether you want to put a frosting or an icing on it, this cake you're gonna love. If you try this recipe, I really think you're gonna like it. And then I don't know if the camera will pick up, but you can again see a little bit more of the inside of the cake. It really is well, it was really fun for me to make this cake. I love the way it turned out. I get compliments when people try it and taste it, that they really enjoyed it. And with the brown sugar buttercream, it just makes it, I think, just perfect. So I also want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. All my videos and my photos are only shown on YouTube. I always tell everyone, if you try this recipe, well, leave a comment because I like to hear from you. But remember, please check and watch me solely on YouTube, because when you do write to me, I want to be able to get that message or that question or that comment. And it's so frustrating when I see that you've written and I can't answer because you're not watching on YouTube and somebody has taken my video. So if you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, boy, I'd appreciate it. Or ring the bell, or even give me a like. Thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and I'll see you soon.